Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel, and as you can tell by the title, this video is going to be a story time on the most uncomfortable job I have ever done in my entire life thus far. So let's just get straight into it. So normally I would work, when I was going to school, I would work on campus, but every summer break, which was like 2.5 months long, I would basically get my vacation for that entire summer and I would come to New York. Now that one summer I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try and make some money. So I'm gonna try and get a job while I am in New York for 2 months. So when I got there, I was like looking on Craigslist. So I'm searching on Craigslist, the trusted Craigslist, and I'm saying this with 100% sarcasm. I'm on Craigslist looking for temporary jobs, part-time jobs, you name it. I'm just on there. I need a job, I need to make some money. I need a job, I need to make some money. Big mistake. So yes, I did come across a lot of scams flooding my email, but there was this one job. Now it said administrative assistant, basically like an office administrator, and I'm like, I could do this for 2 months. I don't care really how much they're gonna pay. It could be as little as $10 an hour. I'm gonna do it. It's just because I ain't doing nothing anyway, so I'll just go ahead and do it. That's when I realized I fucked up. So I sent in my resume. I think I had to email it or something like that, and then they called me back and they're like, hey, would you like to come in for an interview tomorrow, yada yada, you come in for 8 o'clock for an interview. So I'm like, I'm about to make this coin. That was easy. So the next day I made a copy of, they told me to bring a copy of my resume and all that good stuff, whatever interview stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going well. Bright and early on, I think it was a Wednesday, so bright and early on Wednesday morning, I am dressed up in my interview attire and I am going to my interview because I'm about to make my coin for the next 2 months. So right off the bat, first impression of the place. Now it's on a busy street, and then there is like a building. It was like just this most random place. So they gave me the address, the number of the building, and I'm looking for it and I find it, and I have to ring the bell so that someone can come and let me in. So I'm standing there, I ring the bell. When I go upstairs, it's like, even from entering the building, I should have known what I was getting myself into. Anyways, you had to go up the stairs, go all the way to the back, and then it's in some like random corner office type of thing. But I'm like, hey, this is New York. They will set up shop on the corner, like it's just normal for New York. So first of all, I'm greeted by this woman. I'm gonna say she was like the assistant manager at that office. So I don't want to really describe her because I don't want to discriminate. But when I came in, she's like, hey, how you doing? You a girl? I'm like, yes, I'm here for the interview. She's like, okay, you can just go ahead and wait in here. So there was a room, there was like a waiting room. Now in that waiting room, they had like a radio and they're popping Hot 97 or whatever was going on. So it was just like, you know, latest tunes. So I'm sitting in here, I'm like kind of nervous, but kind of more like suspicious, like what the hell, what am I doing here? Like what is really, what is the job, you know? So I'm sitting here, and then some other people come in, I guess more interviewees. So we're sitting in there, and then the same lady who had brought me in and made me sat down and whatnot, and I had to like fill out a little bio form and whatnot. So that same lady, she came back in and she said, I hope you guys are getting to know each other. So in my head, I'm like, wait, why am I trying to get to know the interviewees? Why am I trying to get to know the interviewees when I'm here for you guys to get to know me so that I can get this job, get my coin, and deuces, you know? Not the case. So I didn't take it for anything. I just felt like, you know, they're probably just saying like, I hope you guys are being friendly with each other, whatnot. So later on, this other girl comes in, and I'm assuming that she was like reception, or not even reception, because they didn't even have a front office. So I'm guessing she was like the secretary or something like that. I do not know to this day what she was, but we'll get to that. So then this guy comes in, and this guy is actually the manager of that office. So I'm like, okay, we're about to get this interview popping. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what you guys have to offer. And I'm telling you, I'm like excited because I'm about to make some coin for the summer, you know. Anyways. It's time for the interview. So then we go in individually to speak to the guy. Now, from the time I went into that little room, I guess they were like answering phones and stuff in that little room. From the time I went into that room, I immediately put my phone on record. So I'm recording the entire interview. Like, so he's asking me like basic questions and all of that, and I'm just like, okay, cool, like whatever, the interview is going smooth. So that same day, after everyone was interviewed individually, we had to go into like another room. I'm like, how many fucking rooms does this little corner have, bro? But anyways, we had to go into another room. Now in that room had like a dry erase board and all of that. So I'm guessing, okay, this is like training room, like we're about to get lit. So you enter, and that same, no, we're sitting in there, so it's about to be like a kind of like a welcome introduction, but as a group. So while we're sitting in there, I'm like, okay, what's about to happen next? Like, can it get any weirder? This same lady, the assistant manager who brought me in, she comes in, and I kid you not, this is how it happened. She comes in, she grabs the marker, she's getting ready to write on the board, and she's getting ready to start. She comes, good morning! So I'm like, but wait, why, where is all that energy coming from, and why is it necessary? Like, why? So she's like, good morning. Every day you come in here, you're gonna come in here with a positive attitude. I'm telling you, that was extra over the top. And she is loud. And then anyway, I'm still sitting there. I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Let's get on with it. And then she starts to go through the little introduction, basically introducing the company. And at one point, the manager comes in as well with her, and then he starts talking about the company. He starts giving his life story, being hella motivational, like why we should stick to whatever we get into. And then she's like, oh, make a list of goals and all that. Fast forward to the end of the day, and we go home, and they're like, okay, so this is like just the first interview. If you're lucky, you'll get called for a second interview. So I go home, and I get the call for the second interview. So on the second interview, I'm like, okay, we almost there. We almost ready to make that. The second interview, I go in, I'm in the same waiting room again, and then there are new people now for new interviews, and I'm like, okay, so you guys are hiring on a daily basis? Like, okay, company's lit, hiring a lot of people. This is where I start to, at this point, I am really like, okay, just try to stick through it. Just try your best to stick through it. We're gonna make this coin. All I'm thinking in my head is, you're gonna make this coin, you're gonna make this coin, just try and stick to it, just try and stick to it. So they haven't, remember I said they have like a new group of people to interview, so they're doing their interviewing process, and next thing I know, I'm in the training room with that same assistant manager, and we're gonna call her Betsy, okay? I'm in this training room with Betsy, and Betsy is basically doing the introduction like she did with us yesterday. She's basically doing that introduction with the new set of people, and then Betsy tells me on my second interview, Betsy tells me to come up here and let them know what she's talking about. Like, basically there was like some steps or something you had to do, or basically there was like a pitch. there was like a pitch, and then you had to do all that. So I'm like, I'm standing in there and I'm telling them, I'm like basically doing what she tells me to do, but in the midst of doing it, she's like, speak up, and I'm like, bitch, this is how I can talk, this is how I can talk. And she's like, oh, speak up, da da da, and she's telling them like, oh, I'm new, and da da da, and I'm like, okay, so can we get to the part where you tell me what I'm supposed to do? Still no. So this isn't even where it gets worse. So when these interviewees are done, because remember, they just do that little introduction and they go home, Betsy, and remember I told you there was another girl who I think was the secretary, we're gonna call her Susie. Betsy and Susie, yes, perfect names for them. So Susie and Betsy come in and they have some little note cards, and I'm like, so Betsy's like, this is how we prepare for the day, and she's like writing a bunch of lines on the forms. Soon to find out, she was writing 100 lines on the form, on that little note card. So I'm like, okay, and I'm just like, just observing and seeing where this is going, because I want to make my coin, but I'm ready to dip, So anyway, she writes those lines on the thing. So I'm like, what is this for? So she's like, we are gonna go out in the field today. So I'm like, bitch, what? The field? What field? I'm here to be sitting at a desk for 2 months and dip, even if I told y'all I was trying to get a permanent position. So Betsy pulls out a bunch of perfumes, because it was like a perfume, that's really what they were, like a perfume sales company, I guess. Pulls out this perfume, and I have my little handbag, bro, and I had to put those perfumes in my handbag. Now, Betsy and Susie had a separate bag for the perfumes, because that's what they do on a normal basis. They were prepared. So I have like about 5 or 6 perfumes in my bag, and they gave me this little note card with 100 lines. Now, the deal with the note card was, we are going out on the field being the streets of New York. I'm just laughing now because that's so embarrassing. So meaning this, we're going on the field, meaning we're going out on the streets with this paper. So what this note card was and what those lines were, we were supposed to ask people to buy items, and not only just buy the items, but if they don't buy the items, we have to be like, well, if you don't want any items today, maybe you could just leave a donation, a small donation. So basically, I'm out here begging people to buy perfumes, and in the process, if they say no, I'm begging people to give me money for myself. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? Why don't I just take the freaking train and go at my home? Why the fuck am I still here with these 2 ratchet, I'm not saying ratchet, you guys don't know, it's 2 ratchet girls. One calling themselves an assistant manager, the other one, I still don't know her title. And I'm in here on the streets, people looking at me crazy, because first of all, they're looking at me with these 2 girls and they're like, this girl is out of place. Like, what the fuck is she doing? What the fuck is she really doing with these 2 girls? Anyways, end of the day, I'm like relieved at the end of the day. Next day, I'm skeptical to go back. I still end up going back. Yeah, I know. Dum dum, yay. I still end up going back to the office. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a different day. Maybe that was just, just a little feel of the field. So you have to be like, that's just part of the training process before they place you where you are needed. No, girl, no. We're on Friday now. So on Friday, they have the group from Thursday back for their second interview, getting prepared to go on the field. So I'm part of this. So I'm here, like to see what's next. What's next is we are about to take a train to go to a busy mall to do the same thing that we did yesterday. So we get to the train station, right? I'm still going with the flow, hella uncomfortable, but I'm still going with the flow. So we get to the train station. One of the girls, they decide to jump the fucking turnstile. A cop sees her. She tries to a cop sees her. She tries to just run down to the train stations because they can't find her at that point, you know, like it's too busy. They're not gonna find her anyway because you're not supposed to do that. You could get fined. And then the other one is like telling me, you have money in your Metro card, right? And I'm like, excuse me, if we're taking the trains to go sell perfumes for this company, can I get the company Metro card so I can do a little swipe because the only money I have is to get to you guys, and I haven't heard anything about how much I'm getting paid for anything or my time that I have spent with you guys. It is day 3. What the fuck is going on? Anyways, long story short, I was already there. I ended up paying. So yeah, that's like dumb. I know, like through this story you're probably saying like, you are so stupid, like how did you let it get this far? So I swipe, went to the busy mall. We're on the street hustling people. Now that the assistant manager, she was singing the whole time, drawing mad attention to us. I was like, can the earth just open and I just sing? I just rise inside my house. I just don't want to be near these people. I just don't want to do anything. So that was the Friday. So anyways, I made it for the day, thankfully. Super uncomfortable, and then I would be standing there, right? And the only way I would talk to people is like, she would stop people and she's like, you're trying to get them panty droppers. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck am I in? Anyways, so the only way I would speak to people is like, she would stop them and she would be like, oh hey Pearl, come, and then I would go, and then she would be like, yes, I'm trained, she's in the training process, so go ahead and repeat the pitch. And then I would repeat the pitch, and then that's pretty much how. And then I guess I barely sold anything, honestly, because I was not outgoing. It's just not in my personality to walk up to people, to speak to them, much less to walk up to them to try to sell something to them, and if they say no, try to get a donation. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the motherfuck? I just couldn't do it. So that day went by. So you're like, you're gonna come tomorrow, but we are going to meet up at some other mall, but it's like a building mall, not like a street mall. I don't even want to be here, you know? Why am I wasting my money to meet these girls and I don't even want to be here? Anyways, dumb I went, and then the location was at the front door of a big mall. People coming in and going out, and as they're coming in, we're on the sides of the doors yelling at people. Okay, now I was uncomfortable in the street, much as to be in a building hustle. It was like a legit hustling job, like hustle, like you have to be hustling. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I started to get like a panic attack. I was getting anxiety, and then my eyes filled with water. So she's like, what's wrong? You gotta sell, what's wrong? I'm like, bitch, I don't wanna be here. That's what's wrong. Anyways, so she ends up calling the guy, the manager, and then he's like talking to me on the phone. He's like, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? I mean, I understand, it's fine. Just go home and then we'll see you on Monday. We'll talk about it on Monday. I'm like, nigga, I don't even know if I'm gonna come back on Monday. I just wanna dip out of this bitch. Anyways, so I left. As soon as I left, I was back to normal 100%, because obviously I was just in a situation I didn't want to be in, and I had to get out of it. And in the back of my head, I'm like, give this a try, but there is just no way I could give it a try all the way to the fucking end, I swear to God. So Monday comes, I go to work. Every time I say I go to work, it's funny because that's just stupid. Monday comes, still giving these people my time. I go to work, I'm like, yo, I don't think it was just Saturday, and it wasn't about not feeling well. I just couldn't do it. I can't do it. It's not for me. There are people who can do this job. They love it. It's just not for me. It's not in my personality. When I signed up for this is not what I signed up for. This is not what the ad explained. I honestly didn't expect. I tried it for 3 days. Didn't work out for me. I don't like it. I am done. Deuces. He come tell me, oh, like he's trying to talk me into it, like, no, but you need to give it a try. What are you studying in college? That's the field you're studying. I'm like, yeah, that's the field I'm studying in, but I'm not actually studying hustling people for their money. No, sweetheart. And he's like trying to talk me into it. Anyways, the day was over. And I just, like, the day wasn't even over. I just left early, you know? So they were actually expecting me to come the next day, but I was already like, adieu motherfucking sis, because nobody's telling me how much money I'm gonna get for this wasted 4 days that I could be on Craigslist again looking for my next gig. Like, what the fuck? So anyways, the next morning I just didn't show up, and I mean, it's not in me to just not show up and not say that I'm not coming. So I think I had to be there for like 9 or 8:30 or whatever. So when it was like probably 9:30, 10 o'clock, I called up and I'm like, hi, this is Pearl. And she was like, Pearl, where are you? I was wondering where you were. I'm like, I'm not coming. That's where I am. And she's like, okay. So I told her to let the guy know that thankful for the opportunity, but it's not for me and I won't be coming back. She's like, okay, well, you didn't really give it a try. I said, yes, I did, and it's just not for me and I don't want to do it. Point blank, period. Click. And that was the end of it. That was the most, oh my God, guys, you have no freaking idea. That was the most uncomfortable job I've ever had to do in my entire life, and I will never look for a job on Craigslist again. And that's that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.